What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be changing the brakes on the bike for the very first time. Finally got my brakes in the mail, so let's get to work. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. I've already got the bike somewhat set up. I don't really have a center stand to put it up on. I've been having an issue with my neighbor's front, the front stand. It doesn't get the wheel. Well, it gets the wheel off the ground, but the problem is it actually prevents that axle from sliding out. So I'm gonna have to work out something to get that tire off. But my issue is this one. Lately, I've been having this issue. As you can see, it does not look healthy at all. It looks like a record player, and that's because there is next to no, let me see if I get this. Yeah, you see it? There's next to no brake pad left. Yeah, that's a problem. And then on the front, I've got the same exact problem. Want to see it in there, see how bad it is? It looks like a record player. So, and if I spin this, you can just hear metal dragging, and it's just, that's bad. Never got around to it. Also, been kind of short on funds lately, so I finally got the opportunity to get this taken care of, and now I'll be able to change out my brakes. So let me show you what I got. Alright, so I've already opened up everything, so I'll make it easy for you guys to see. This is the rear, and then this bike requires two fronts. And then maybe if I take my gloves off, let me put the tripod up. If I take the gloves off, it might make it a little easier. Okay, so I've got this. Ceramic brake pads for the bike. These are going to be for the front. And then I got these for the rear. And you're probably wondering, what kind of brake rotors did I get for the bike? I like these. I saw them online, and I thought these looked pretty sweet. Now that just looks so cool. So, slap that up front. I think that's gonna be a way better look. So, let me put that back. Right now, I'm going to be focusing on the back of the bike. I got to get the wheel off. Also, my chain is going to have to be tightened as well, so eventually I'm going to do that. But let me go ahead and get the back wheel off, and probably do like a quick time lapse showing me taking the whole back section off. But before I show you that, I want to show you guys the rear, the back brake rotor. There you go, little saw blade. I like that. I think that's gonna look really good. All right, let's get busy. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, got the back tire off. My knees are killing me. I was looking for my knee pads somewhere. Because this concrete floor just brutal on your knee pads. Or on your knees. Anyway, brake pads that I pulled off. Where'd they go? Oh yeah. They're here. See on the back? Can't really tell. There you go. See, there's basically no pad left. That stuff is gone. But nowhere near as bad. Where'd it go? Right there. Hard to record. But yeah, that's all chewed away. And the worst of it is you can see the condition of the rotor. It's in really bad shape. It's not supposed to look like that. So that rotor's tired. It's ready to be changed. I had to be really careful about taking all this stuff apart. You gotta watch out for the bearings. You never want to get dirt inside your bearings. You don't want to get dirt on the axle. That's why I have it propped up like this. This is the only thing I gotta change right now. A little tip: before you go to take your back tire off to change your rotor, before you do, use the tool if you can. Like in my case, it's this Allen right here. Use the angle of the bike or the ability to hold it in place. Use the bike, keep it on there, and break them loose like you would lug nuts on a car before you jack it up. Before you take this tire off, keep them on. Use the Allen wrench to break these loose. Because when I did it, it was a chore getting them off of there. This is the first time since, I guess, 2003, when this bike was made, that this rotor has ever been off this bike. Because these things were on there. They did not want to come off at all. So we'll go ahead and get the other brake rotor, because I'm only changing out the rear. So we're going to get this one. Then we're going to get it the pads and the buddies. Wait, that's the front. That's the front. This is the rear. That's what we're doing. Come here, pad. Alright. Again, I've never changed the brakes on this bike, so frankly, this is kind of a learning experience on this particular bike. I've done it on other motorcycles, but just this one in particular, I haven't, so I'm learning as I go. But I know what to look for, because, you know, learning how brake rotors work and what to look for on the wear, you can see it's really shiny right here. That's a lip that you see. It's curved outward. If you amplify it under like a magnifying glass, this is a valley right in the middle. That's where the pad's been riding, and it hasn't touched the outer lip. So it's hard to tell with the camera. Can't see it because it's all blurry. Focus. Yeah, see. Real tough to see. See that lip on the top? I'll put a little arrow. But yeah, it's along this leading edge up here. So it's like a little valley that the brake pad's been riding in this entire time. So, and on motorcycles, you want to replace your rotors. I don't think that you can turn these rotors. On a car, you can turn them. In other words, if they have little ridges in them, like a record, from a record player, you can put it on this machine. It's like a lathe, and it actually cleans off a fresh layer, so you can reuse that same rotor. But after that, you have to change it again. You can't. They call it turning your rotors. So you can't do it twice. You can only do it once. And on a motorcycle, I don't think you can do that because these things are so thin anyway. But I've been proven wrong before. With the easy part out of the way, time for reassembly. Oh joy. I got the back done. It was a little bit easier than I thought it would be. I really thought it would be much more difficult. The front is actually what's going to be more difficult for me because I don't have the proper lift for the front. They make them for these bikes, but I don't have that, so I'm going to have to be really careful with what I'm going to do. I'm going to use the jack, lift it up, and then I'm going to put the support underneath the front forks and hold that up while I have the wheel off, just in case. And then go ahead and swap out the brake rotors and the pads. Let's do it. Alright, before I put this other brake rotor on, I want to show you guys the difference in well, thickness on these rotors, how worn down these are. Excuse me. Alright, so let's pull out the other brake rotors onto the fronts. This is the one for the other side. Whenever you go to put these things on here, two things you want to double check. First is the lugs. You got the bolts, you got 5. You want to make sure that they match. So in this case, spin it so that they do. You probably can't really tell, but they do. They line up perfectly. But if you'll see the thickness difference. See the difference? Yeah. So these have seen better days. These were original from the factory. And these are not. These are very much aftermarket. Alright, now that the brake rotor is back on, the wheel is back on, my nerves are no longer as shot. That made me really nervous, that bike being up like that without any support. The only thing left is to add the brake pads inside the calipers. I don't know how to get this thing apart yet, but I will magician them pads on there somehow. So I'll pick this video back up after this whole thing is all done and back together, and I'll see you guys in a little bit, probably tomorrow in the afternoon. So I'll see you guys then. Well, you know what, maybe on second thought, I just decided to go ahead and finish them up. After I learned how to disassemble the brake pads on the front, it was actually pretty simple. The brake pads I bought were for a specific size, left and right. I figured that out. Accidentally installed the wrong one. But yeah, I mean, these are now my new brake rotors up front. They're nice and shiny. See the left part where it's kind of shinier than the right? It's right here. This versus the outside. And you can see on the inside of that where it's shiny, stupid shiny. That is me taking it for a quick spin. See, it's pretty shiny, but on the inside it's not as shiny. It still needs to work on it. So, and on the back, I don't have any light, but you can kind of tell it's a little shiny. Yeah, so I just took it for a spin around the block. Whenever you go to break in things like this, you want to hold on to the brakes a little bit, just let them drag, and then just drive for a while holding the brakes. And what that does is there's a layer of, it could be paint, it could be wax, whatever, something that's going to get in between the pad and the actual rotor and restricting the amount of friction and not allowing you to stop. You need to break that in. So you got to drive it for a little bit, let it burn in, and then eventually you're going to have 100% contact on the brake pads and rotors, and you'll be able to stop with no problem. So, but anyway, I took this thing for a spin. It seems to be running just fine. The pads, let me show you what I got real quick. Alright, this is what I took off the bike. You guys already saw the back, so let me show you again so we're clear. Alright, brake pads in the back, it had pad left, so it really wasn't, you know, chewing away at it, which is good. See, that still has some pad left, that's fine. There was the pad on here was getting tired, but if you look at this, see a ridge? See, it's really shiny on the very far edge. Yeah, it's not supposed to be like that. And these are thin. These are really thin. See that edge right there on the far left? Yeah, it's not supposed to be like that. So it was just chewing into this. Don't need that anymore. Moving on. Alright, I don't know, I don't remember what side was what, but I do know how the pads came off. These are very thin, and these things are really, really rough, like a record player. So, you're probably wondering what the holes are for. Well, the holes are to prevent what they call a phenomena called brake fade. Alright, and what brake fade is whenever you apply the brakes with a tremendous force for a long period of time, your brake pads tend to get really, really hot. Alright, and the friction gets so great that it actually starts generating a moisture level, a moisture layer in between both the pad and the rotor, or the gases emitted from the brake pads. The vapors from that get in between the pad and the rotor, and it's basically like your brakes are hydroplaning. Your brake pads are hydroplaning on themselves. So therefore, they don't grab the rotor anymore to stop you. Well, the gases are the main problem that's creating that. And how else are you going to get rid of the gases? You put holes in it. It gives the gas or the vapors somewhere to go instead of collecting in front of that brake pad and giving you brake fade. So that's why you'll see a lot of high-end vehicles with what they call cross-drilled like this, or you'll see the ones that have long slits, long slots. They're called slotted, simply put. These are cross-drilled, and then you'll see some of them that have both cross-drilled and slotted, and it gives gases somewhere to go, the brake gases and the brake dust and whatnot, so you can actually stop. Now let me show you. No, that's not it. Is that it? Yeah. Okay, this one was off of one side. I had some decent meat left, a decent pad. Excuse me. Nope, it's not that one. Here's the other one. This is the off the same side. So both of these were together. They both had some pad left. All right. This was my problem. Look at that shiny. There is no pad left. None. That's where the brake caliper was pushing on the back of it. There is no pad, but this isn't the worst one. Okay, here's the back of it. Here's the front of it. Unbelievable. Ugh. Yeah, this is dangerous, guys. Don't do this. Don't let your brake pads get that bad, or your brake system get this bad, because if it does, these start chewing into your rotors, and whenever you do that, your rotors are pretty much toast, and you need to buy all new ones. So don't let it get this far. For me, I've been meaning to change it to get something like this, because personally I think it just looks totally badass. So anyway, that's a short lesson on brake pads and stuff on a motorcycle, and I've been meaning to get around to changing these. So now that they're changed, the bike, it runs like the brake pads are dragging, which they are. That's fine. I still need to break them in, so I think my ride into work tomorrow will probably do just that, and then after that it'll ride just fine. I won't have any issues, won't drag anymore, and I'll be able to stop. So because safety. Well, that's going to be a wrap for this evening's video. Hopefully you guys found it somewhat entertaining in some way, shape, and or form. If you guys want to, please feel free to like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. You guys know what to do with Teespring and my Patreon page. And I appreciate you guys sticking around for another episode of, you guessed it, SV Cruiser. I'll see you guys in the next one. Good night.